Bold and the beautiful. Ridge breaks Taylor's heart. Health crisis looms. Los Angeles was glistening under a golden haze, a city wrapped in secrets and sunlight. At Forrester Creations, the fashion house that had withstood decades of betrayal and love, tension rippled just beneath the luxurious fabric of business, as usual. Taylor Hayes stood in her office, sunlight catching the warm auburn of her hair as she stared down at her phone. She had just reread Ridge's last message for the 10th time. "We need to talk. Alone." Her heart skipped. She knew that tone, gentle, somber, and laced with inevitability. For months, Ridge had been trying to mend the rift he caused by chasing after Brooke Loken again. But Taylor had given him a second chance, her last chance, and now the floor felt unstable beneath her. "Don't panic," she whispered to herself, smoothing the hand over her tailored cream blazer. "He said he loved you. He promised this time would be different." Just as she sat, a gentle knock came at the door. Ridge entered without waiting, his expression clouded by something unreadable. He was in his usual Forrester uniform, open collar, salt and pepper hair falling perfectly around his intense eyes. But he looked tired, not physically, but emotionally, as though he rehearsed this conversation in his head too many times. "Hey," he said quietly. Taylor stood, trying to read his energy. "You said you wanted to talk. Ridge, what's going on?" He closed the door behind him, moving toward her with slow, reluctant steps. "It's about us." Her heart thudded. "Don't tell me this is about Brooke. Again." "No, not just her," Ridge replied, voice taut. "It's about everything. Taylor, I need to be honest. I can't do this anymore. I thought I could. I wanted to. But I still have feelings for Brooke. I never stopped." Taylor blinked, as though trying to absorb a sudden blow. "After everything? After what she did? After the lies, the manipulations? You came back to me." "I know," Ridge said, eyes full of conflict. "And I meant every word. But something's missing. I thought I could choose the peace you give me over the chaos Brooke brings, but it's not that simple. I love you, Taylor. I always will. But I'm not in love with you anymore." The silence between them roared louder than any scream. Taylor's hands trembled as she took a step back. This is a joke," she stammered. "You said you wanted a life with me, with our family. We just moved back into the house." "I thought it was right," Ridge said. "But I've been lying to both of us. I'm still connected to Brooke." Tears gathered in Taylor's eyes, but she refused to let them fall. Not yet. And Brooke? Is she waiting on the other end of this cruel confession? Ridge looked down, the answer loud in his silence. A soft laugh escaped her, bitter and wounded. "You don't even realize how often you do this, do you? How many times you've put her before me, before your own children." "Taylor, please." "No," she snapped, her voice rising. "Don't please me. You told me this time was different, that I was the one you wanted. Do you even remember how hard it was for me to believe you? And now you're standing here doing what you always do, going back to Brooke like she's some kind of gravitational pull you can't escape." "I wish it weren't true," he whispered. She stared at him, this man who had consumed so much of her life, her love, her hope. "Then go. Be with her. But don't expect me to be waiting when it falls apart again." Ridge turned, his own eyes misting over. "I'm sorry, Taylor." She watched him leave. The door shut gently behind him, but it might as well have been a gunshot. She stood in stunned silence for a long time before the tears came, hot, angry, relentless. But even as her heart shattered, another pain crept in. A dull ache behind her eyes, a strange pressure in her chest. She gripped the edge of her desk for balance, feeling suddenly dizzy. Something wasn't right. Taylor sat on the edge of the leather chair, head bowed, fingers pressed against her temples. The room swam around her. Her breathing was shallow, unsteady. "It's just the emotions," she told herself. "Just heartbreak. I've been through worse." But this felt different. Her heart was racing too fast. Her vision blurred momentarily, and a wave of nausea crept up her throat. She closed her eyes and focused on staying upright. There was a knock at the door. Not Ridge, not this time. "Mom?" It was Steffi. Her voice was cautious, concerned. "You okay?" Taylor straightened up quickly, pasting on a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Of course, we've heard. Come in." Steffi entered, still radiant even in her tailored work attire, her brows furrowed as she looked her mother over. "You don't look okay." Taylor waved a hand. "Just a headache, and Ridge was just here." The atmosphere turned heavy instantly. "Oh no," Steffi said. "What did he do this time?" Taylor's smile faltered, replaced by a hollow expression. "He left. Again? For Brooke. Steffi's jaw tightened. What? Mom? No, he didn't. Not after everything you've been through. Taylor nodded silently. He said he still loves her, that he tried to love me the way I deserve, but he couldn't lie to himself anymore. Steffi crossed the room and hugged her mother tightly. I can't believe him. He always runs back to her like some lovesick puppy. How many times does she have to break his heart before he learns? Taylor clung to her daughter, grateful for the warmth, but the embrace was short-lived. That dull ache returned, now sharper, curling around her ribs like a vice. She inhaled sharply and stepped back. Mom? Steffi asked, noticing the sudden shift. I'm fine, Taylor lied. Just tired. But Steffi wasn't convinced. You're pale and your hands are cold. I'm calling Finn. No, Taylor said quickly. Don't. I don't need a doctor. I just need time. But her body told a different story. And as she walked Steffi out, her knees wobbled ever so slightly, and she gripped the edge of the desk again. Later that evening, Taylor stood alone in her kitchen, trying to make tea. The silence in the house was unbearable. Once, this home had been filled with laughter and hope. A second chance with Ridge, a rekindling of a life she'd once lost. Now, it felt like a mausoleum of broken promises. She turned to reach for the kettle, and the room tipped violently. The floor came at her too fast. She cried out as her head hit the tile. Darkness swallowed her whole. Part 3. Discovery at Dawn. The next morning, it was Thomas who found her. He'd stopped by after Steffi mentioned something seemed off with their mother. The front door was unlocked, unusual for Taylor. Inside, the house was eerily quiet. Mom, he called. Are you here? Silence. He turned the corner into the kitchen and froze. Taylor was on the floor, unconscious, one arm twisted under her, her face pale and slack. Mom, he yelled, rushing to her side. Mom, wake up. She didn't respond. Panic took over. Thomas called 911 with trembling fingers, then cradled her head carefully. It's going to be okay, he whispered more to himself than her. You're going to be okay, Mom. Just stay with me. The paramedics arrived within minutes, checking vitals, asking questions Thomas could barely answer. She's had dizzy spells, he said. Yesterday she wasn't feeling well. She said she was tired. Did she mention chest pain? Vision problems? She didn't say, but my sister said she looked pale. She's a psychiatrist, not a hypochondriac. She wouldn't have called for help unless it was serious. The medics exchanged a look, one of them nodding. Let's get her to Cedars, stat. At the hospital. Finn stood outside the exam room, arms crossed, face grim. Steffi stood beside him, eyes red-rimmed but dry, too angry to cry. She collapsed. She repeated for the 5th time. How could this happen? She seemed fine. I mean, emotionally devastated, yes, but not sick. She's had symptoms for weeks, from what I can tell, Finn said. The scans are still coming in, but the preliminary labs show signs of something more serious than simple exhaustion. Steffi's heart sank. How serious? Finn hesitated. I need you to be straight with me, she said. Don't severe code it.